Hi, I'm Corinne.
And I'm Courtney.
And we both work here at Advantage Physical Therapy. And today we'd like to talk about lateral hip weakness or low back pain for runners. Some of the things we're going to talk about are just a couple exercises, ways that you can strengthen your hips getting ready for running season. The first exercise we're going to talk about is an MTP push, or metatarsal phalangeal push, but you don't need to know all of that. All you need to know is the goal is to activate the outside hip muscles, your abductors for stabilization, and your external rotators. So as you can see, Courtney's going to show what bad standing posture looks like. You can kind of see how her knees are rotating in and her arches are going to kind of roll in as well. That's the way a lot of us stand, especially when we have weak hips. With an MTP push, what you want to do is you want to create arches in your feet by turning out your hips. She's just going to keep doing that a couple times just to kind of show you guys. You can see how her knees turn out from her hips. She activates the core, and then with her feet, she's creating an arch. You can go ahead and turn one foot sideways, please, Courtney. Take a look at this arch here. This is what she's doing. She's keeping her knuckle down on the ground, but she is raising this arch. She is using all her foot intrinsic muscles to create an arch in her foot. We've talked about this exercise before. It's excellent for preventing plantar fasciitis. The next exercise we're going to do is something called a hip hike, and you'll see why. So you're going to stand on one leg, doesn't matter which one because you're going to do both, and then you're going to lift the other hip high up in the air and then let it come back down. Now, most of you think that you're actually working the hip that's moving, but you're not. You are using the stabilizing muscles over here to also abduct or lift the opposite hip up and down. So you are working what muscle is known as the gluteus medius. It's a hip abductor and stabilizer. As you can see, Courtney is not allowing her hips to rotate in any way. She's keeping a straight linear plane when she does this. You're going to go ahead and do a couple on these sides, and then you just, of course, switch to the other side. The next exercise Courtney is going to do is called a single leg stance with using your arm in a cross position. So she's going to raise one leg, and once again, it's a static exercise, meaning that she is working and strengthening the hip abductors on the standing side for strengthening. And what she's going to do is she's going to take her arm and she's going to raise it and perform a cross position. So up and down and side and side. And I don't know if you noticed, but Courtney, right before she started, checked to make sure that her hips were level, which means she's not letting them sink down, nor is she hiking it up too high. She's really focusing on keeping it at her pelvis at a level. One of our last exercises we're going to do is a classic exercise of side-lying abduction. Jane Fonda would be very pleased for our buns of steel. Courtney is going to go ahead and lay on her side. One leg is going to stay slightly bent just kind of to give stability. You can put your head any way you want, whether laying down flat or tucked under her arm. And she's going to raise her leg, and then she's going to lower it. If you notice, Courtney is keeping not only stabilization, but she's giving herself an idea of where her hip is. Her axis of motion is right here. Her foot is nice and flexed. What that does is it gives a good chain of activation through the whole leg. Courtney, go ahead and remove that hand and show what we don't want to see. So if you see what she's doing here is not only is she using her front leg muscles to lift, not the side, but she's allowing that hip just to rotate and that core to be poor. It's not activated at all. So once again, correct technique looks like this. Straight linear plane. Axis is right at the hip right here. And if you want to give yourself some good cueing, just leave your hand. Our last exercise is an advanced exercise. So Courtney's going to go up into what's called a side plank. That's when you put all the weight on the side of your foot, not on your calf, and you're up on your elbow and in this form. You can either stay in this position just to strengthen the underside muscles right here, or to make it even more intense, you can go ahead and do an abduction or side-lying abduction in this position too, where she is putting all the weight, the static stance, on the lower portion, and then she's still using the other hip muscles on the side there. Excellent, Courtney. So those are just a few exercises that you can perform to help strengthen your outside hips. It helps prevent issues such as knee problems, low back pain, SI joint pain, trochanteric bursitis, IT band syndrome. If you want any more exercises, feel free to either give us a call, email us, or check us out on Facebook. And happy running!